The day of Hanako's birthday party is finally here. To be honest, I'm looking forward to seeing Hanako and Lily in their pajamas again. That's weird that you'd say that. Hanako's gown has grown on me as looking rather cute, though a bit conservative. Why are you saying these things? You literally just spent a night with her, like chillin', playing chess in her pajamas. And Lily's shorts and thin silken top are a lovely combination. But the event is stained with a little memory of Hanako's reaction to it. I still don't really understand what happened, only being able to vaguely guess at the possible reasons for it, but I don't think finding the answer will be straightforward asking her. With that in mind, I knock on the door next to Hanako's. Is that you, his house? Yeah, it's me. I hear the pitter-patter of footsteps coming to the door, followed by the sound of the lock snapping open. I don't think I've ever seen Lily's door locked before. Makes me a little suspicious. That's weird. Once the door opens, the sight is a little underwhelming for a birthday party. It's the same as it was before, bro. Hanako returns to the seat and at the table with a quick smile and a nod, leaving me to close and, assuming I wanted to be kept that way, lock the door. As I do so, I realize the scene before me is an evening tea party, just like any other between the two. Somehow, I don't think I should be surprised. To my relief, Hanako looks relatively calm. The break from class has probably done her some good, given her time to wind down a bit. I take a seat between the two, at the low table in the center of Lily's room, the brightly colored teapot steaming away between us. A tall brown bag close by Lily's side catches my attention. I covertly try to glance inside it a couple times, but can't get a good oh god, something landed in my throat. But can't get a good look from here. Looking to Hanako, it seems like she's just about as curious about it as I am. Hey, Lily. Lily finishes off with the teacup raised to her lips before settling down and giving my attention. What's wrong with my voice, by the way? Yes? I was just wondering about that brown bag. Don't call it a brown bag. She doesn't know the color brown. Unless she was in blind. I don't know her. Was she blind at birth? Maybe. Maybe not. Who knows? But don't say brown bag. It's just weird. Just say that bag. That would be a Kira's present. Unfortunately, she said she was working and can't join us. Lily leans over and feels the item inside before raising her arm. I raise an eyebrow as two items, not just one, rise from the bag. The glass necks are grasped by Lily on either side of the middle finger. This is why she had her door locked. Oh my god, is it a bottle? Oh, they're bottles. Oh. Wine. Oh shit, are we about to get fucked up? This is hype, actually. I like this. There are two small thuds of bottles brought to the rest of the table, one red and one white. I want to believe it's fake, non-alcoholic wine, but if it was, there wouldn't be any need to be this circumspect. Alcohol? Seriously? Are you sure this is a good idea? Lily smiles and politely giggles. I'm not really convinced that she is. These would be the present from my sister. I know it's a bit questionable, but a little shouldn't hurt. They're bottles. That's usually like where's my camera? Like this big, probably bigger. Like bottles are huge. So like there's no way and she gave us two. Like there's no way we're only doing a little bit of drinking. You gotta like if you get caught with this, Lily, you're fucked. Like we gotta down it. If Lily took a serious issue with it, I don't think she would have agreed quite so easily. That aside, I had Akira scored as a serious and responsible type. Maybe like an older Lily, but looks like I was wrong. We aren't even legally allowed to drink yet. Well, in that case, I won't complain. They don't look bad either. No connoisseur, but at least the bottles look nice, apart from the surreptitious glass of wine or two given from my father at family dinners. I've never really had enough to know what's what. I swear, there's something that keeps lighting up over here. It's not my phone, and I don't know what it is. That, and I can't really say that I'm a total straight edge, going by Hanako's expression. She's thinking the same. It's her birthday anyway. Shall I open one? Sure, I'll get some. My heart skips as I hear 3 sharp pangs from Lily's door. Hanako's head flicks around, and Lily's eyes close as if she's listening intently. None of us want to be busted for this. Who is it? Let me in, I'm cold. I don't know who this is. Lily lets out a resigned sigh before motioning to Hanako to open the door. She obediently gets up and fusses her gown before moving, apparently still not quite sure of who it is, but trusting enough in Lily to do as she requests. I can see a blonde, dark-suited figure become visible over Hanako's shoulder as she opens the door. Happy birthday, Hanako. Thank you, Akira. Hanako gives a small bow to twiddling her fingers in front of her. This is Lily's elusive sister. Do we see her? Oh shit, she's so cool. Oh, I love her actually. Akira follows Hanako to the table after shutting the door behind her, giving me plenty of time to have a good look at her. It's really just Lily in a suit. She looks about to be the same height as Hanako. Just short blonde hair that's quite roughly cut. That, in addition to her rather modest breasts, masculine suit, and a deep voice given to her by it, give her quite an androgynous effect. Without further ado, she plops herself down on the table across from me. It's nice to have you in our company after all, Akira. Did work let you off? Yep. Have to go back there in a little bit, but managed to get enough of a break to drive down. So, this would be a sow then? I don't know why that came out weird. Confident smile gets thrown in my direction as I nod politely in return, considering that she jumped straight to using my first name. It's more informal than her appearance would suggest. Wait, if she already knows who I am, that must mean Lily's talked about me with her. I wonder what she said. Sorry for not introducing you, Sao. This is Akira Sato, my old elder sister. I see. Nice to meet you. Why did Hanako jump? The person in question loudly claps her hands together, making Hanako jump a little bit. Akira notices this, looking uneasy for a fraction of a second before getting back to her stride. Only now do I realize that Akira hasn't paid Hanako's scars any undue attention. Hanako also seems to be comfortable, if not exactly relaxed, around Akira. Yeah, they hang out a lot, bro. They've mentioned this multiple times. Well then, I assume the presents got through. No point waiting, considering Sao and the birthday girl look like they're pretty eager. Lily giggles as I awkwardly turn away, a little embarrassed by the fact that I couldn't hide my interest. Hanako's eyes are telling me that she wants to try the wine together with me, though. So I settle a look for a badly feigned indifference. Akira manages to uncork the first bottle with small effort, and Hanako goes to get some glasses before I get to pour 4 of them. It's full white wine. Never had white wine. I've had red wine, I think. I heard somewhere that white wine has less alcohol than red wine, so I think it would be best to start with it. Here's to Hanako, and to Lily's trip. Cheers! 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 Sorry, I didn't do that in any voice. After the traditional raising of the glasses, we all take sips of the pale yellow liquid. It's nothing like the stuff I had with my parents, with the fruitiness of flavor and almost entirely hiding the taste of alcohol. Maybe this is what proper wine is supposed to taste like. Then again, it's possible that Akira just chose wine that would be suited to our tastes, since none of us are used to alcohol yet. Or at least I hope none of us are. This isn't too bad. I was expecting something harsher. If you hadn't liked it, I had a few other varieties you could have choose from. You sound like you know your stuff when it comes to wines. Only a bit. More of a kind of a beer person. I had the drink inside down pat, though. As if to prove her point, she refills her glass before bringing it to her lips and flicking her head back. Damn. Hanako and I silently watch as the whole glassful disappears down Akira's throat. Can't decide whether to be impressed or put off, but I certainly don't have any urge to imitate the act. Lily grimaces slightly at her sister's boast. I note that she is sipping from her glass as she does so, though. Anyway, now that Akira's gift has been opened and sampled, shall we move on to ours? Gifts? That's right. We got you presents. It's your birthday, after all. This is from me. Lily pulls out a carefully wrapped doll from under the table and passes it to Hanako. Hanako handles the present as if it were glassware, carefully turning it over to remove the tape that binds the wrapping. Eventually, the paper falls from the doll, revealing the emerald green of the doll's dress. It's beautiful. I'm not sure what reaction I was expecting from Hanako. The near total lack of dolls in her room made me think that she didn't care about them, but the look in her eyes is something different. She turns the doll around with the same delicacy she afforded the wrapping, as if she was expecting it to fall apart in her hands. I'm glad you like it. Hisao picked it out, to be honest. Hanako suddenly remembers that she's not alone in the room and shifts her focus from the doll. Yes, I like it. Thank you, Lily and Hisao. Actually, I got you something else. I reach into my bag and remove the wrapped chess set. Here, happy birthday. Hanako carefully sits Lily's doll next to her and opens my present with the same care that she showed Lily's. Before long, the checkered squares of the chessboard are visible, and and Hanako gently runs her fingers across the curved surface. Oh! Almost by accident, she triggers the catch to the lid, startling herself in the process. She opens it and retrieves one of the gray pieces. She seems as absorbed in the chess pieces as she was in the doll before. They're coral, natural coral, undyed, or so I'm told. Thank you, Hisao. No problem. It's your birthday after all. That's right. My birthday. Once again, Hanako's reaction seems a little off. You just were like avoiding it like a second ago, and then you're like, haha, birthday, birthday, birthday. She carefully closes the board lid. I notice Akira's smile beginning to look very strained. Wonder if she knows anything about what happened in class, given that she seems to be treading on eggshells around Hanako. It's not about knowing what happened in class, it's about knowing that she doesn't really like this day. I'll have to play with you again sometime. I'll make sure I'll play you first. Aw. Doesn't really just looks like a tiny lily. What the fuck? The chess board is really small. What the hell? I thought it was gonna be like a bigger thing that like opened up and it had like the pieces. I don't know what I thought. She takes the doll she received from Lily and holds it to her chest together with the small chessboard, putting the piece on top. You really paid like $40 for this chessboard, though. I hope that the pieces look good. The act seems to settle her down somewhat, and we just sit in silence for a while. She doesn't have her feet burned. That's fine. So does that mean the burning was just like, it's on her arm, so it has to be like all the way down. You can see my mouse, right? It must be like all the way down here and like stop at her legs. She's really cute though. Sorry, this seems unimportant. I think it's one of the few times I've seen her genuinely happy, cradling the friendship of two people in her chest as tightly as she can. Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Hisao. In the process of thanking us, Hanako drops the chess piece and fumbles a bit in her rush to retrieve it. Once she finds it, Hanako puts the chess set down and nervously gulps at her wine. It's as if the real world suddenly rushed back into her consciousness, and her fastest escape was in the glass. Hey, easy there. You shouldn't drink it that fast. That doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but it's fine. It is a party, Hisao. Despite saying this, there is a slightly concerned edge to her voice. Eventually acquiescing, Lily proceeds to follow Hanako's lead, though not as eagerly. She looks to be taking small sips from her glass and letting the wine settle on her tongue before swallowing. I decide this is probably the best approach to do the same myself. This is kind of a going away party for you as well. I hope you enjoy your trip at least a little, Lily. Hopefully your aunt will be okay. I hope your aunt is okay too, Lily. Lily and I are slightly taken aback by Hanako's fervor to wish Lily well, despite her own familial situation. I'm a little impressed. My, thank you both. I'll be sure to convey your thoughts to my family when I meet them. It'll all be fine in the end, Lily. Don't you worry about it. Tesserim's mood has become noticeably more sullen. I decide to try and move things along. Well then, shall we start on the cake? Why is there cake? Who made the cake? My tentative suggestion has the intended effect, and everyone lightened up a little, considerably. Yes, please. Cake? I didn't know there was any cake. Yeah, what? I picked one up before I came, along with some snacks. I feel like you should have brought this up before. Where was this from? Well done, Hisao. Also, what? did he like? He had to like walk up and like open the. I don't. She would have heard this all. She would have heard it all being set down. She has the ears of a fucking goblin. I don't know why I said that. That's a weird comparison. Everyone seems to welcome the distraction, so I retrieve the cake from my bag and start cutting it up. Okay. Bro. I'm hoping it's like a grocery bag. Also, when did this happen? I guess we had a time jump. Mixing wine and chocolate cake isn't something that I thought would work well. Of course it is. You eat strawberries on chocolate cake. You eat fruit with cake. You know? I don't know why I said strawberries. What? It's like apple. What's like oh, it's grape. I'm dumb. I was gonna say what taste is wine normally. I guess they kind of mix it up, but it's yeah. You would have fruits and cake. But none of us seem to mind. Conversation is temporarily suspended as we start to eat. I guess maybe not white wine. I don't know what that tastes like, but I was initially wary of this idea. After Hanako's panic attack, I expected the worst from us tonight. But I think Lily's idea of giving her good memories of her birthday is working. That, and also having it shared with her going away party. Hanako's reaction to her gifts, I could tell she was really appreciative. Hanako tries to pour herself another glass of wine, but ends up spilling some on the table. Ooh. She's had a couple now, considering that she's never had alcohol before. It's no wonder that she's feeling a little lightheaded. Sorry, Lily, I didn't mean to make a mess. Don't worry about it. I've got it. Aww. Lily reaches sideways and gently takes the fussing Hanako in her arms, giving me pause. Aww. It's okay, Hanako. I'm just happy you're here. Hanako gives only a faint nod in response. It's fitting, I suppose, that Lily would be the one to support her like this. I have no idea what Hanako would be like if she hadn't. Seeing the two like this makes me appreciate the fact that I'm privy to such an intimate moment. Even Akira can't help but smile at the sight. I never would have thought I'd manage to find new friends so quickly. And I'm all the more thankful of the people that these two are the one that I've befriended. They slowly break off from one another, Hanako regaining herself somewhat while I quickly get myself back on task. Find a towel among Lily's tea set and start mopping up the spillage. By the time I finish, however, Hanako and Lily have managed to uncork the other bottle and have topped their wine glasses. Let's go. Looks like you're enjoying the wine then. Don't go too crazy with it after this, mind. We all dutifully nod and agree, but her reminder feels a bit silly given that she's the one supplying underage people with alcohol. Oh god, they're fucked up. You can tell by the music, shit's going down right now. The second glass of wine goes down a lot quicker than the first, and before any of us notice, the second bottle is empty. While Akira is helping us finish them off, Hanako looks to be almost equaling her in the amount she's had. That's crazy. My head feels a little light, but I think I managed to gauge my own tolerance surprisingly well. Hanako smiles lazily, toying with her doll's hair. I think it's a pretty safe bet she hasn't moderated herself as well as I. I don't think it was Hanako's intention to get this drunk, but it seems that alcohol hit her all at once. She's very light-framed, so something which wouldn't help her handle the booze either. Lily cradles her glass, running a finger around the rim. Her cheeks are rosy, but she manages to avoid looking woefully drunk. Akira is, as I somewhat expected, largely unaffected. Her smile might be a little wider than before, though. Maybe. Yeah, no matter how much you have, like, if you have, like, a good amount, like, you'll brighten up a little bit. Even after, like, 2 glasses of wine, I'm sure you get a little something. I just clicked stop recording. I clicked something. I guess we're fine. Okay. Hanako suddenly hiccups and accidentally knocks over the doll. I think I should maybe go to bed. Thank you, Hisao. Thanks, Lily and Akira. She slurs Akira's name pretty hard, but barely avoiding breaking out in the giggle midway through. She's completely plastered. I can't decide whether I should feel a little bad or not for being amused at the state she's in. Don't feel bad about it. She knows what she's doing. Or she doesn't. But she knew what she was getting into? Maybe? I don't know. It really is bizarre to see her acting so carefree. Shame it's only with the help of alcohol. Here, let me give you a hand. Akira begins to get up to help Hanako out, but she stopped when Lily gives a sharp cough. So, would you please? Ah. Akira looks a little surprised, and I have to admit that I am as well. I don't mind the request at all, let alone which is said with such a smile. It comes just rather unexpectedly. Sure, no problem. No. I pick up the chess set and help Hanako stand up. I do feel somewhat responsible for her, considering that, other than Akira, I'm probably the most sober person in the room. She nurses the doll in one hand and offers me the other. We stumble out of the door and into the hallway and into Hanako's room. Hanako bumping into me a number of times on the way. Oh, like the light turned on. That was weird. Inside the room, I flick on the light as Hanako turns her attention towards the shelf on her dresser. An elegant doll is sitting on it, staring her into her bare room. There you go. You'll be safe in here. Hanako gingerly places the doll next to the other one and straightens the dress. They sit in silence and clothes perfectly arranged, just like the teapots in Lily's room. They serve as a distinct contrast to the dull whites and grays that permeate her room. Satisfied that her dolls and her only two real possessions are safe, Hanako takes a step back and stands up, staggering severely. I step forward to catch her if need be, but she regains her balance without my help. For a while, both of us stand in silence as Hanako looks downwards towards the cupboard. After a minute or two, she begins to sway a little from side to side. It's very off-putting. Are you gonna be alright? Hanako raises her head and turns around to see me as if she's only just remembered that I'm also in the room. Whoa. What's unexpected is that she takes 2 steps towards me and wraps her arms around my body, her head coming up to rest against my chest. I can feel my heart beating as all of my senses feel like they're coming alive again after their deadening through the previous drinking. The smell of wine on her breath, the feeling of her fingers through my clothing, the scent of her hair underneath my chin. My hands remain out in front of me, not daring to touch her. Temptation is there to hug her, to embrace her, at least hug her, bro. To tell her everything will be fine, but this feels wrong. Really, really wrong. Hanako. But I want to stay with you and Lily. Hanako's slurring reminds me a bit of Misha. She probably wouldn't be pleased to hear that. You know I can't. You're a girl, and I'm a guy after all. And Lily needs to sleep. She gives a disappointed groan. Aw. It's so strange for her to act so forward. Don't worry, I'll see you again tomorrow, okay? I decide to rest a hand on her head to reassure her, deciding that this is as far as I'll allow myself to go in terms of physical contact with her while she's in this state. Hanako's head nuzzles against my chest. Oh, makes me feel all the more uneasy with the situation. As her arms tighten around my back, I quickly decide to bail out. Wow. I rest my... This man's very, strong for this. I rest my hands on her shoulders to give a firm, gentle push. Her grip tightens as little as I do so. She eventually breaks off. I don't want you to go. Hanako, please, Akira and Lily are going to start thinking weird stuff if I take too long here. It's perfectly true, too. I really don't want to take any chances. I feel very uncomfortable right now. Whoa, Hanako, are you about to take Hisao without consent? He doesn't consent to this. He's drunk. You're drunk. What was that sign like when when people are drunk, neither parties consent or something? I don't know. I shouldn't try to read anything into the way she's acting right now. You should, when you're drunk, or at least when I'm drunk, like, I'm very more honest with myself and my feelings, so. I feel like that, I assume that's what it's like for most people. It's just, you're more emotional, but it's more true. Whatever. I read that aside from the alcohol lowering inhibitions, people react to getting drunk in many different ways. Okay, that's what I was saying. That don't necessarily reflect reality. That's the opposite of what I was saying. And even without that, there are plenty of ways to interpret what she's saying. As long as she's safe, I'm gonna try and get out of her room as soon as possible. Hanako hiccups again, looking a right mess as she stands and looks downcast in the center of the room. Her personality changed as she drank more and more, and now, all alone in her room with me, her previous brightness seems to have left her. Was she acting a beat to make sure we didn't worry? Even if she was, what could I possibly do for her, since I do exactly the same thing in regards to my own condition? Distancing myself from my thoughts, I eventually managed to corral Hanako towards her bed, though her attempts to tame the wild sheets on it end up accomplishing little. Sorry about tonight, Hanako. I know you probably won't remember any of this, but happy birthday. I'm sorry I couldn't do more for you. She looks at me for a moment. I have no idea if what I said actually got through to her, but any chance to ask is lost, her eyes peacefully close. Any ask is lost as her eyes peacefully close. Sorry. I sigh in relief before quietly backing away from her and leaving the room, flickering the light switch off as I go. I hesitate a little before opening the door to Lily's room again, quickly rehearsing what I should say if I get questioned about Hanako. After a few seconds, I still can't come up with anything. I open the door and make sure to close it behind me, lest any passing students catch a glimpse of the wine before turning my attention to the 2 girls at the low table. Akira is casually smiling, as is Lily. I welcome the change of mood in Hanako's room. Is that you, Hisao? Yeah, I got Hanako to her bed. She's sleeping now. That's good. I have to admit, I hadn't thought she'd drink quite so much. Hey, it's fine. She's all safe and tucked up in bed now, the way she is. She awkwardly trails off, though Lily and I hardly protest. For someone so anxious and fearful, drinking would give an easy out for those constant feelings. I wish I could do more for her. I feel useless. Looking at Lily, I think back to what I asked myself in town. My relationship with her is that of a friend, and has only felt that way. But now I think I know why. Lily's been there for both Hanako and me since I first met her. She's like that for everyone, trying to do her best to make them feel better. With that in mind, what's the bond between me and Hanako? After rescuing our relationship back from the panic attack I inadvertently triggered during class, I feel like we're back to being friends. She's on my mind more and more. Can't say I view any other girl in quite the same way. Maybe it's just a normal reaction to someone acting like this. Say, Akira. She yawns before looking at me. It is getting pretty late. You know about what happened with Hanako, don't you? Yeah, Lily told me. I negotiated pretty hard for a break so I can come down and help make her birthday a bit brighter. We get along pretty well. Surprised to hear that someone as extroverted as her. But if Hanako came to know her through Lily, then maybe she had time to get used to Akira. And on that note, I'd better get going. I already going a bit late as it is. But it's already so late. Sorry, got a bunch of work dropped on us, so overtime it is. She levers herself up with a grunt and heads past me towards the door. Just before she leaves, she turns her back towards us. You haven't forgot about the time. Sorry, what? You haven't forgotten about the time for the flight and all the rest? Don't worry, I have everything ready. Just a matter of packing when it gets closer to the time I have to leave. Atta girl. I'll see you guys later then. With that, she disappears through the door, with her head held high in her farewell. Your sister is, something, alright? Probably should have thought that comment through before saying it. Regardless, Lily seems quite amused at my appraisal. You okay after all that drinking? Not wasted, just hitting it well? Hiding it well? I assure you I'm quite alright. I can moderate myself. You seem self-possessed as well, if I do say so myself. Yeah, well, I guess your moderation applies to me as well. With a little hesitation, I take a seat at the table. What? At the table in front of Lily. I want to address this directly, and for no other reason other than to settle my own thoughts. I've been meaning to ask this, but it took me a while to make up my mind. Do you have any idea about what triggered that panic attack? I gather it was something to do with her birthday, but I don't know anything more. Even Akira was being really careful around her, so I assume she knows as well. Lily's smile drops. The gaiety of her birthday party is now well and truly over. To be honest, I'm not quite all sure of the details myself. Hanako told you that she was in the house fire. She told me as much after we'd met and spent a lot of time together. Other than that, she quite simply never told me. She never told you. Assuming the worst, what does she have to look back upon? Life of isolation and possibly even death of her family? Maybe even going as far as blaming her existence for their deaths. Even thinking about what little I know of Hanako's past is bleak. To have lived through all that and to live on with those memories is indefinitely worse. Lily, looking similarly depressed, but I could see her rebuild at at least some of her composure before my eyes. I get the feeling that both of us are talking more frankly than we might otherwise do thanks to the wine. Feels just like talking this out is a good thing anyway. I feel kind of helpless about it. When it's put like that, what can I possibly do for her? Well, I'm not wholly sure I should tell you this, but Hanako told me that you visited her the day we both went to check on her. I must admit, I did not predict she would take such a step so quickly after what happened, nor did I expect you to. I think it was a nice gesture on your part. It wasn't much, really. It's just, Times like this, I sometimes think it would be better if we had never had to leave Yamaku. Or at least this town. Things are so much easier without others around. I didn't expect Lily to look quite so troubled at what I had to say, but for a while she looks lost in thought. She moves to speak, but stops herself as soon as she does and rethinks. It's a bit off-putting. I think... Tell me, do you have anything planned for Friday evening? Friday evening? No. I clicked off the game. Isn't your flight to Scotland the next day? I don't think it would be a good idea to tire yourself out before you even get there. I'll be alright. You needn't worry about me. I'd do this tomorrow evening, but I imagine Hanako will be feeling rather off for a while. The thought of how she's going to be tomorrow makes me grimace. Maybe we should count our blessings that she didn't end up simply throwing up from drinking so much while having such a low tolerance. Well, I'm gonna be able to attend whatever you're planning. What is it? Nothing unusual, I assure you. Just a little excursion. And you'd better be off, as how I can't imagine it's long until after curfew is here. Ah, damn curfew, I'd completely forgotten. It looks at the clock next to Lily's bed, but it seems to be some oddity without written numerals. This makes sense given Lily's condition. Yeah, it's Braille, dumbass. Not wanting to risk a haughty security patrol giving me a scolding, I get up and decide to get to my dorm, as she says. Well then, guess I'll see you and Hanako tomorrow, assuming the both of you manage to get up in the morning. Thank you for your concern, Hisao. Until then. With that, I make my way out of her door and into the hallway. Her idea will be a good one.